What's up, guys? This is Keith Kelfis with the Untrapped Podcast. We have an awesome guest for you today. Tommy Mello built a home service business specifically in the garage door industry from scratch up to 30 million, 50 million, and now they're doing 200 million this year. He has over 700 employees in how many states did you say again, bro?
23
states, and literally moved to Arizona. He's actually from Sterling Heights, Michigan. This is where I live, 17 Mile and Ryan, bro. Grew up literally in the same stomping grounds as me. So you're awesome, bro. I consider you a friend, and I love how you go. I've been seeing your posts on Instagram. You just dropping knowledge bombs. But the one thing that I love most about Tommy Mello and your new book, Elevate, that just came out, we're going to be talking about that, is you have this tone of compassion. I know it sounds a little funny, but it's a nurturing tone in your voice. It's almost, how can I say this? I'm a Christian and I believe in the Holy Spirit. There's something going on with you, bro, that when you speak, it resonates on a whole new level. You care about other people. You could just be running your business and keeping it all to yourself. You put a ton of time and energy and attention that you could be putting more into your business, into helping people and sharing knowledge. You've been doing keynote speeches all over the country. You've made friends in multiple service industries. You made a huge name for yourself. And most of all, you care about people and helping other people grow. So what's up, Tommy Mello?
What's up, Keith? I appreciate being here. Spoke at the Landscaping Summit, and I think that I learned so much from everybody. You know, I didn't realize that 6 years ago, starting a podcast would have put me in front of just all the answers I've ever needed. And so many people that have been on the journey of my podcast have been like, oh my gosh, I listened to 1 through 40. I grew to 10 million. I listened to
What's the name of your podcast real quick?
Oh, Home Service Expert.
The Home Service Expert on all platforms. If you want to check out Tommy's podcast. All right, continue.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I talked to a garage door guy, a good buddy of mine, Jeff Sanford, and he's like, dude, I was able to go from 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 10. He's going to do 20 million this year. And he's like, the questions you were asking at 10 million, I knew what you were at because it's exactly what I've gone through. It's like chronological of the growth of your business. And business is about relationships and networking. It really is. It opens a lot of doors. I've spoken to a lot of billionaires in the past year. And the one common trait is they're brilliant networkers. They're always searching for solutions. They don't think they know it all. And so I love what I do, man. And I'm opening up doors. The first thing I start with every speech I do is I'm in the garage door business. I'm in 23 states. If you like what we do, use our company, see how we do things. But also, if you know a garage door company looking to partner up with a great company that's going to take care of your internal customers, that's us. So I'm building little marketers out there. It's amazing what happens when you give. It's the byproduct of giving. Just good things happen. And it's not something that I pioneered. It's not something that I try to do. I don't give in expectations of receiving. But it seems like the world, God, Jesus, they do these things. And it's an amazing, just an experience. I'm just getting started, I'll tell you that. I'm nowhere near the peak of my career, and I'm having fun every day, and I enjoy Mondays, and that's important.
Nice answer. I believe you, bro. I believe you 100%. So when you said internal customers, what do you mean by that?
So I never call people my employees. I like to call them internal customers. I like to call them my coworkers. I like to call them my team. I think sometimes people say, yeah, my employees screwed that up, or yeah, my employees are taking care of the business. To me, when I was an employee, it was condescending, so I just don't do it. I don't use those words.
I love it. I saw on Instagram you made this post. I actually saved it. You were talking about how you've said this a few times, and I'm sure you'll say it again. You have some of the highest prices in the industry, and people have said, Tommy, how do you charge so much? Even people have said some pretty crass things. How do you sleep at night? And you said, bro, I sleep luxuriously like a baby on my pillow because I pay my employees well. They have benefits. They have this, they have this, they have this, they have this. What are you paying your employees? Like, how are you taking care of employees? Does maybe the woman who works in the office, are the brakes roasted on her car and they're smoking because she literally can't afford because you're not freaking paying her enough? Like, you talk about things in a matter of fact that you care. Like, if you imagine a pyramid and the CEO at the top, it's almost like you feel the weight and the responsibility, but you support these people with your intentions and you care so much. And when I look at it from the outside, I'm like, this dude got to where he's at to 200 million because he is totally in love with what he does and he cares so much. Can you talk about that whole perspective?
Yeah. You know, people ask how I sleep at night. It's because I got a brand new mattress and it wasn't a cheap one and it's very comfortable, the best pillows. But no, I'm kidding. What I can tell you is showing up matters. And I've had people that I get to work with come up to me and say, my last boss, we did $6 million in revenue and I saw him one day a month. He's off on crazy destinations. I think part of the problem is I enjoy what I do too much. I enjoy being here, but showing up is half the battle. Seeing that I'm here, I'm fighting the good fight, I'm in meetings. I will tell you, some of my relations with the employees, it's not the same. And I know some of them come to me and they say, dude, when are we going to hang out? And I'm like, man, look, my goal right now is to increase my efficiency by 10 to make time for more relationships. But we have 700 employees, and I know I need to pour into my leadership team because I can't have a one-on-one personal relationship that I could talk to an hour a night with 700 people. But I could help coach them, and they could mentor me as well on how to really listen, active listening, storytelling, and just giving a damn. It's not a quality that you could build in somebody, but you can help them become better listeners, but you can't help them to learn how to care. So that's an attribute we look for when we hire. And I'll tell you this, I'm very fortunate. I have great people that watch my back and they watch the operations. I'm really not involved in operations. In fact, I couldn't tell you a clue on how to give people overtime or PTO at this point. I mean, it's been lots of years since I knew how to do that. I don't know near as much about service time as certain people in the company. I don't know really much about payroll. I know about the scorecards, and I understand how people get paid, but the scorecards are a living, breathing organism. I talk about it in the book Elevate. Oh, there we go. And Brian Davenport, one of my managers, is in the book, and he's an amazing coach. And I've had dozens of people already reach out. They read it right away. And they said that was my favorite part, is how you took one of the guys that you work with and he got to be a part of the book. And you should have seen, Brian almost broke down in tears when I said, I want you to be part of my next book. And he made all these posts, and I do care. And I don't always show it. I'm a work in progress. I've got a lot of faults. I'm the best I've ever been and the worst I'll ever be.
I've been to live events around the country, and I've also gotten to speak on stages, which is a huge dream of mine. I've missed you. I haven't gotten to meet you in person, and I know I will soon. And they'll be like, oh, Tommy, he was just here. Or he was at the event a couple months ago. Or Tommy, and I just missed you. And then I'm like, what is he like in person? And several people have looked at me, and they go, he's a savage, bro. Do you like let loose? Are you hyper? Are you vocal? You just
I'm all over the place, man. I have ADHD. Look, I'm all over the place. I enjoy while I'm there. I get out, I talk to people, and I'm pretty like, dude, trust me, I've made this mistake. I'm loud. I'm obnoxious at times. I'm not formally dressed. I don't wear a 3-piece suit everywhere I go. I wear a T-shirt a lot of the times because it's easy. And I like to have fun. I'm who I am, and I talk to people, and I say, dude, this is pretty simple. Use call tracking numbers and know where your attribution models are, or have a manual when somebody starts so they know when they screw up or they know if they're doing good. And there's these simple little principles that I didn't think were so simple when I first started. But now it's like, if I could pour into people and they get 30 minutes with me, I get these letters of, dude, I'm a kid's soccer coach. I make it home for dinner every night, and I spend Sundays with the kids. And I didn't have that. Those are like the best things of my life. Those are the things that I strive to be as a better leader for everybody. I let my competitors come in here. I show them service time. I take them in through my training center. And that's the whole purpose of the book Elevate. And it happens to be in this is like, I elevate the whole industry. I elevate the garage door industry. This is my goal. I'm not perfect, but the employees get to win. The customers surely get to win. I'm winning. My vendors are winning. My partnerships are winning, because it doesn't need to be when I'm winning, you're losing. If I go into your market, guess what? You're going to do better. One of the guys in Garage Door Freedom, we happen to be in the Detroit market, M&M Garage Doors. He's like, dude, my conversion's gone up. My average ticket's gone through the roof. My employee retention's gone up since you came here. And I'm like, great. I'm not competing against you. I'm in a world of my own. I know who my customers are. I know my avatar. And I want you to win. Let's elevate the industry. And I've seen this happen. There's an old book called HVAC Spells Wealth. It's an amazing book. And what they talk about in the book is they got together in the 1970s with all the HVAC companies. And I just love the story because a lot of the guys would ask him, and I'm brain farting. Oh, man, I'll think of his name. But he'd say, look, I charge more. You guys are welcome to see my price book. And they never knew what he was doing so much better. Well, he was marketing to the right customers at the right time. He was branded correctly. And he didn't have turnover. And so you've got to pay your people the right amount. Otherwise, your guy quits. Who's running the warranty call for the customer? They're not there. Who's running on weekends and nights and holidays? Oh, they're not there because I didn't treat my employees right, because they didn't pay them appropriately to a living wage. they weren't able to be homeowners, so they had to move farther out away from the city, and now they can't work for me because they didn't make enough money. So I think the byproduct of taking care of people is your customers get handled in the same day service. They got the right parts. They got a trained technician that cares. I was listening to something about Four Seasons, and they said the way that they pick their people, and they could genuinely, when someone says, how's your day going? I want to see if I can make your day any more comfortable. They actually mean it. They don't say it because it's a phrase. These people actually, when they care, the company does way better, and you want to stay at the Four Seasons. You know you're paying more for the Four Seasons, but you know you're going to get treated like a king or queen. And I think that that's important, and that's the kind of company I want. I think we offer a really good value for the service we offer. I think we've got the highest cycle life parts that are trademarked in the industry. And I'm glad people used to talk about me on Facebook before the podcast and say, dude, that dude, he's our villain. He is such a prick. He comes into our market. He takes our employees. He raises prices. He charges too much. And now they're like, well, Tommy's a pretty good guy. I'm making a lot more money now. The employees are happier. My clients are happier. My vendors are happier because our product mix is better. So they all won. And that's the hard part for people to comprehend. And it just doesn't make sense, but it works.
Wow. All right. So what I'm thinking about is your others focused. So somebody who is in some growth part of their business where they're growing pains and maybe they're emotional about it. Like they got shit going on at home, shit going on in their business, and their perception is, are you able to grow past that and look out and care so much to the point, but also keep a work-life balance? Like you look incredibly healthy. You don't got huge bags under your eyes and look totally burned out. What is the model, your mindset, like 40,000 foot view and then zoom back in? What are you thinking about long-term and then day by day?
Well, I got a great team. I'm a visionary, right? Rocket Fuel. And Gino Wickman and Mark Winters wrote that amazing book. And they explained the difference between Walt Disney and Roy Disney. Walt Disney was the visionary. He knew exactly what the park would look like 10 years before it got done. But Roy knew every single contractor that was working. He knew what was in the bank account. Walt never knew what was in the bank account. So I've been very lucky. I've had the right people come into my lives at the right time. Maybe it's
so the visionary integrator relationship Gino Wickman talks about in his books, Traction and Rocket Fuel and all that. You're the visionary.
Exactly that.
You're saying? Okay.
And one of the things that I recommend everybody do is start keeping a little track of your time. And if it's not on a Google Calendar, I just recommend an old-fashioned scheduler. And where your time is going, that's your next hire. If you're spending 15 hours on payroll dilemmas, or you're realizing you got to make the LMS, there's people that know how to make a better LMS than you. They understand how people learn. They're the best. And a lot of times when I was smaller in business, I thought I was saving money by buying used trucks and not hiring the best and not getting the best trainers. And I thought, I'll just help. But then I realized that I was actually losing money because things weren't hitting the finish line and things weren't getting done. And it was kind of hodgepodge put together. And all these ideas without hiring the best, without getting consultants, without reading books, without listening to great podcasts, without learning at great speaking events, I realized I was actually kind of shooting myself in the foot. I was actually making my life harder. And I thought I was going to be an expert at everything, but I became a jack of all trades, a master of none. Then I started investing in myself and everybody around me. And the conclusion has been very positive. And I wouldn't say conclusion because it's never ending, but like right now, I'm looking for a new executive assistant. I'm looking for a personal assistant. We're getting a chef. I'm having a chef come to work too. And some people think that's pompous. Oh, you can afford that. To get meal preps does not cost a lot of money. You save money than rather going out. To get a trainer doesn't cost much more than a gym, but it holds you accountable. To have somebody show up to cut your hair might cost an extra $20 every 10 days. So you spent $60 more per month, but you didn't spend it on gas. And how much is your time worth? So a lot of people go, man, this guy's got everything. It's easy for him to say, no, it's not. I was right where you're at. I've been where you're at, and some of the people listening are much bigger, and I'm going where you're going. I see that your success has paved the way, and success leaves clues, and I'm right on that road. I'm in uncharted territory in a lot of things I'm doing, and I love that because it's not easy, and it's challenging. So I don't want to think about what I have to wear in the morning, so I got 25 of these. I don't want to have to make those decisions. I make tough decisions every day. I don't want to think about which way I need to go to get a haircut. I don't want to think about what I need to eat tonight. Put something in front of me. You know what I like. I'll eat whatever you want. Tell me when to take the vitamins. Bring me another bottle of water if you see it's. And these aren't commands. It's just people around that's their job. I've got very, very good checklists, standard operating procedures. And when something is not making sense, like the whiteboard is full, I'll create a standard operating procedure, a quick opportunity explain to them when I want stuff done, what file it goes in, and I'm not the best organizer, so why not have somebody 10x organized around me? I mean, why not recognize your weaknesses and really, really try to enhance your best qualities as a leader rather than trying to be good? I want to be well-rounded. Well, good luck. Get good at finance. Do what my CFO does. See what my recruiters are capable of doing. See what my top CSR can do. I don't want to be as good as them. I hired them. They're better than me. And I have no problem saying that. I could do every job in this company, but I'm not as good as they are. They're the best.
Bro, those of you that are listening on the podcast, because we're live right now, you can watch us on YouTube on the Untracked podcast on my YouTube. I'm smiling so wide I could eat a banana sideways. Here's why. I asked you a very specific question. I said, give me a 40,000 foot view of what your perception looks like, and then go in small in the micro and the macro. And you answered it so succinctly and perfectly. Like, I'm legit going to listen to this podcast and go back and rewind because you literally just said it all right there. Do you talk about this stuff in your new book, Elevate?
Yeah, Elevate was interesting. So it's my second book. The first one was The Home Service Millionaire. I had 12
I got that one too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It took me years to complete. And in the second book, I came up with a basis. I'm a big note taker. If something comes to mind, the minute it comes in, I make a note. In my cell phone here, if you went to my homepage and scrolled over, I've got shortcuts to Google Docs, and they're all categorized. This is the house that I'm working on. This is Elisa Projects, Jim Leslie, Dan Miller, Destiny, Brad Lee stuff, Tools for David, Dashboard and KPIs. Everything's categorized so I can keep track. And if it's something new comes in, I just build a folder, and it's basically a path to success. And I know who I need to hire. And it's pretty thought out.
So you have your pressing or prioritized projects, and you keep the needle moving forward on them often or all the time or delegating. How do you prioritize in the 500 things Tommy Mello could do? How do you, because you say you're a visionary, how do you prioritize what's most important now at 30, 60, 90, 120?
Well, I need a lot of help. I lean on a lot of people for that. But ultimately, there's a lot of projects going on. And what I learned in 2014 when Adam started as the general manager, soon to be the CEO, he was the COO. We could walk and chew gum at the same time because we're both pretty smart guys. And he could actually run 5 projects and I could run 5 projects. And if you bring on more integrators, you could run 50, 100 projects. If you delegate properly, keep people accountable, have normal check-ins, make sure you're hitting the finish line. A lot of people spike the ball right when they're near scoring a touchdown. They're 3 feet from gold, and all they got to do is keep digging a little bit. And just tenacity. You need to be focused. Considering the fact that I have ADHD, I think a lot of entrepreneurs do quite a bit. I've had people put their hands up, and everybody in the audience has put their hands up. And what I figured out was a racehorse wears blinders. They wear blinders to keep focused. I read this book called Essentialism. I read another book called The One Thing. And I learned that if I could focus and I could have a time dedicated to certain things, and I kept my door shut, and there's also open door hours, but if I could just have my door shut and have one thing to focus on, as I realized I could build an SOP in 30 minutes. Then I got to spend another hour and a half building the data integrity, the checks and balances to make sure that's getting done. Then I delegate it out and just see it to the finish line. But my best use of time is coming up with processes and then refining them. And there's different things. The numbers tell me where I need to go. The income statement, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, the CRM KPIs, they tell me exactly where I should be every day. If we're losing people, there's obviously an issue with the culture. Communication's failing. That's another big thing. That it's a KPI that's harder to read. But when you're losing people or people are starting and falling off, then there's an issue with the process. The process picks the people. It picks the product. It basically picks everything. You can only get lucky so much. You can't run a monster company by getting lucky without processes.
Stick around as Keith returns with more of the Untrapped podcast in just a moment. Hey, if you're looking for what is probably the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, even track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. And if you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, type in getjobber.com/Keith. And if after the trial you decide you want to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith. This is Untrapped with Keith Kalfas.
So I believe in the process. The process picks the people. Personality profiling, that's a process that's put into our recruiting. Background checks, drug tests, DMV records, that's a process that was built into the recruiting. You know, I switched companies for backgrounds 5 different times. We used to get delayed sometimes for 72 hours to do a background check. So I found another company that could do it in an hour. And that problem was solved. And so I knew to look for that because I actually listened and I figured out, I talked to people. And because of the podcast, because I speak, somebody said they have a friend that applied and they say, nobody's gotten back to them in 3 days. Well, I looked into it. Well, what do you want, Tommy? Our background check says 72, it takes 3 to 4 days sometimes. And I said, okay, I'll fix that. It took me 1 hour. And I've got very capable people. And I do let them make mistakes. I do let them figure things out. I do let them stub their toe because I'm not going to come in and save the day every time. In fact, there's probably 100 things going on right now that's getting solved.
I keep thinking of like the story of the buffalo. It's like you go directly into the storm. You face things head on. Is this correct?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of tough conversations. I have tougher conversations with my 5 closest people around me because I've really tried to be the face of the company. And I never want to be the bad guy. I'm not a good bad guy. I'm not good at firing people. In fact, I'm probably too lenient on second, third chances. But I've really empowered my team. And I think that that's something that most business owners fail at because we say, I know if I did it, I could figure it out. So let me just do it, save some time rather than growing people around you and having them be able to make choices, be able to work and have some autonomy. I think a lot of business owners are like, why didn't you run that through me? I would have done it differently. I lose probably hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, but I gain millions. So think about that. I lose because I know I might be able to close a job and sell better, but because I've scaled, there's millions and millions and millions of dollars a week coming in. So I had to take the less of two evils where I'm going to let some stuff fall through the cracks. This guy might not be selling service agreements as good. I know I could do it, but I'm not going to be able to scale that. I can't be. My time is worth something. If you figure it out, you do the math, you figure out how many hours you work, 50 hours a week. Most people do at least. And you go into 52 weeks, you might go just 50. That's 2,500 hours. And then you simply say, okay, I've got 2,500 hours. How much did the company make and I make last year? This is how much my time's worth. What should my time be focused on? Big decision making, TLC to the people around you to let them know they're doing good, rewarding them, recognizing them. These things are really, really big. And I don't think a lot of business owners think about these things. And like I said, I got a lot of work to do, but I'm on the right track.
Bro. So the level of clarity that you have to have for the responsibilities of what you built and where you're at to keep this thing moving and growing, you must have people around you that consult you that have been through the same trenches of where you're at right now, because you can reach out to them and ask them questions. Is this correct?
Not only do I
just like an alien on an island, and
not only do I have great consultants that specialize in what they do, I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of speaking. But I'll tell you some other things that I do is it's not always a contractor. It's not always, I should say, a mentor that comes on. For example, we're working on dominating TikTok. So I found the number one consultant at TikTok. And because I'm not afraid to ask and say with humility that I need help, and I'm not afraid to pay for it because, quite frankly, if the results happen that I think is going to happen, I'll be able to get thousands of leads a month for garage doors off of TikTok. And not to mention some other stuff I'm doing on there because I'm not good at it. There's tools that are made. There's somebody that specializes in that. Somebody specializes in Instagram. Somebody does Google pay-per-click. Somebody does LSA ads. Somebody does call tracking numbers better than I do. Somebody figured out a better way to do it. And we've got really good systems, but can they all get better? But I can't do them all at once. And it's not always going to be me, but I'm always out searching and exploring. And when I go to an event, just like the Landscaping Summit event, I asked a lot of questions. I learned quite a bit of things. It was amazing hearing some of the stories and just, you would think the landscaping event, what's Tommy going to go learn? And if I didn't walk out with 20 things, I did. And I always will. And relationships, and people are handing me their cards saying, I'm going to keep an eye out for garage door companies for you. I got a text message from a landscaper today of a garage door company. And I think the universe works in mysterious ways. It's if you put yourself out there, and listen, there's a lot of things that I need to work on. I mean, I'm working on a system right now, this weekend, of how to eat perfectly, intermittent fast, and get 7 workouts in a week. But I'm not going to make it difficult. I'm not going to be doing cold plunges every day and going to the cryo freezing and eating of perfect calories. I'm coming up with the simplest, easiest plan of something I can maintain for long term that I won't hate. And that takes time because I know myself. So I'm coming up with a simple routine. It's 20 minutes a day working out, walking the dog a little bit longer than I normally do, not parking to the closest spot available, but parking away. Because these little things, you add it up, it does a lot. And I'm just saying, listen, how important is those mashed potatoes to me? It's instant gratification, but in the long term, it doesn't do good to my love handles. So I'm just like, listen, a little bit of sacrifice, but I still, listen, you want to eat something? Have this. And that's what I'm preparing. But fortunately, I could have people around me that'll do it better than me because two things I can't buy. I can't buy my health. There's no amount of money, and I can't buy time. So there are two of the largest things I'm focused on right now.
Yes. Tuesday night, I do date night with my wife. We've done like 700 date nights since 2016 or something. I lost count. And that's our cheat night for eating. So if there's like I love ice cream. I love Reese's peanut butter cups. I'm like, nope. So I save it. And last night was date night. So I had a big bowl of ice cream with Reese's peanut butter cups. And I put whipped cream and chocolate all over it. And it was delicious. So like I'm literally turning 40 in a couple of weeks. So I'm running out in the cold and doing burpees and push-ups and jumping jacks, doing plant-based protein shakes and drinking tons of water and trying to stay away from fast food. But
well, there's also, Keith, you want to really hear how to set yourself up for success?
Yeah.
When you go shopping, have some sweets that are low calorie that aren't bad for you for those times. The hardest part if you're an alcoholic is to have a bottle of vodka in your bathroom. The hardest part for cigarettes is to be around 3 smokers. The hardest part about working out is making it to the gym, so have the trainer come to you. What if you could build a system that made things easy, that just you didn't have to work as hard as you're working today? What if you said, here's what I'll do. So many people go cold turkey, 75 hard, baby.
70, my friend Eric Reno just posted, he's like, 75 hard.
And the whole goal of 75 days is supposed to imprint better systems into your life, habits that are good. Instead of fast food, it's healthy food. Instead of the TV, it's a book. Instead of not doing the dog walk, you do the dog walk. And after 75 days, it's supposed to form habits, right? But the problem is some people struggle and they go, I can't wait for this to be over. And maybe there's a version of that works for you, but I can't do, I wake up at 4 a.m. I run 1,000 miles. I do acupuncture. I do the meditation. I'm like, look, I know what I want to do. I know what's going to last. And the problem is with these fad diets, these things that are out there, they're great. They help change a lot of lives. But when you really think about it, I'm like, this is what works for me. What can I live with every day and maintain? When can I get a cheat meal? And if I want a beer, I'm going to have a beer. If I could have something like that, then I'm winning. Everything's great in moderation, as they say. So I think that happens in business too, is like, what's sustainable? If you start, I have never missed a podcast since 2017, not 1 week. Now I've recorded 2 or 3 in a week when I was going on vacation, but I've never missed one. And trust me, I listened to the first 10 podcasts. They sucked. I was typing in the background. I was confused. I didn't have the right questions to ask, but nobody was podcasting 6 years ago. And I just stayed consistent. And I started thinking a little bit before the podcast. I'd read the guy's book before they came out. Simple little things. And all of a sudden, they became better. And somebody said, man, you answered a question I've been craving and I didn't have to pay you anything. I'm like, great. I'm like,
your podcast is fire. I was listening to it while out landscaping a couple of years ago. And you were talking about Google My Business and Google Guaranteed and talking about just showing up on Google as the number one expert with the most amount of qualifications, where you positioning yourself is the obvious choice. And when you talk about the level of certainty, you're like, this is the way. It was just so powerful and it helped me tremendously. And we started getting a lot more positive 5-star reviews. And so I think I'm asking you all these questions because the obsession with success, and then what about like the personal life thing? If you're so clear and so consistent, now I'm not trying to get into your personal life too much.
No, I'm fine. I'm an open guy. I don't have much secrets.
Like I've been with my wife. We had our 10-year wedding anniversary. We'll have our 11-year wedding. We've been together 13 years, going on 13 years. And like something popped up a few weeks ago where we're talking about starting a family. And so I was like, we basically had this hump to get over where we spent like a week talking hours and hours and hours a day. Twice we were up to 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning, just straight talking. There was a little bit of talking, a little bit of crying, a little bit of arguing. And bro, I wake up next to my wife and I start kissing her. I'm like, so I feel completely at one with her. It's a sacred honor. It's amazing, bro. Like I feel very fortunate, but it didn't come out with a lot of hard work and sacrifice, right? So during those times, I couldn't go gung-ho in my business, and I had to let some shit slide and just really focus on my personal life. If I have boundaries I need to set with people that are family members that might be toxic, and I have to finally face this shit, I have to draw lines in the sand with certain people. I'm a fucking big boy now. I can't, like, these weird boundary issues growing up that you deal with people. So it's like the clarity and the conciseness in your business and your personal life. The thing I'm getting at, it takes a lot of people, I know me, a lot of time sometimes to get through certain things before they become a solid lesson. And I know, like, I've underquoted landscape jobs, and I've went and looked in the mirror. In my own eyes, I said, don't ever do that ever again. This is law now. And I didn't do that, but I had to really put my hand on the hot stove to feel it. And so you, at the progressive rate that you've grown your business and built a team, it seems like you've been able to face lessons and grow a lot quicker and a lot faster. So do you just pick up a cross and hang yourself on it? Do you not run from pain? What is it about you that allows you to evolve consciously in these areas faster? Does that make sense?
You know what's crazy is, for some reason, people have always taken my phone call before I was successful. I came from a form of gratitude. And I'd always tell people, I admire you. I've got some questions if you take a minute for me. And people have always been willing to pay it forward, the successful people. And I've always kept my eye on the guys that, even in high school, we played a lot of sports. My best friend was the president. I moved to Arizona, but he ended up being the president of our senior class. I mean, in 10th grade, what was it, homecoming prince or whatever, because 12th grade was king. And like, I just knew how to ask questions. And I don't want to learn. I'm the first one to ask for directions. I don't want to be lost. In fact, if I even have a feeling deep in my soul that I might be headed off just an inch, I'm stopping and slowing down and asking for help. And I think that that's hard for especially men. We're men. We'll fix it. We'll figure it out. The big box comes. We're like, we don't even need the directions. Then you end up with 4 extra bolts and it's teeter-tottery. But that's just, I've changed that about myself I don't want to figure things out anymore. I don't want to be alone. There's someone else that has the answer. And I go out there and I put myself out there. And if you don't like it, I'm okay not being liked, because I can't please everybody. That's one of the things I find a problem with a lot of people that are influencers or whatever you want to call it, is you're not going to be liked by everybody. There's a lot of trolls out there, and they'd rather sit home on their mom's couch eating popcorn, never get a job, and tell you how shitty you are. Or you've got friends around you. You know what I do? I tell all my guys and gals, I do an orientation for 3 hours. I dress up like a doctor. I've got props. I hand out. It's fun. It's entertaining. And
Did you say you dress up like a doctor?
Yeah, I do.
All right, tell us more.
Well, I'll tell you about that later. But I'll tell you about that. Then I'll tell you what else I tell them. So put on the doctor stuff, the stethoscope. I'm literally dressed up like a doctor, and I say, guys, have you ever been to the doctor? And they say, yeah. And I say, when you go into a doctor's office, you sit down there, you fill out some paperwork. The nurse calls you back 20, 30, 40 minutes. She usually checks your height, your weight. She checks your blood pressure, puts you in the little room where you wait for the doctor. The doctor comes in, looks in your nose and your throat, makes you cough, puts the stethoscope on you, whatever. And then he sits back and smiles and he says, hey, Tommy, let me ask you some questions. How's work? You still have your dog? How's that going? Okay, listen, what's your anxiety like? What's the stress levels? Okay, great. How's your diet? Are you working out? Is your cardio good? What's going on in your life? Are you smoking? What's your drinking like? And they diagnose the person before the problem. And this is how I tell them we got to treat our clients. We got to ask a lot of questions, find out what's right for them, understand their goals. Are they staying in the home? So if the doctor walked in and he says, I know what you need, without saying anything, you go, you didn't even ask me anything. I just think I know. No, well, why don't I give you your solutions? I'm the doctor, but I got to ask some questions and make sure we're going to get you what you need for you. And when a doctor gives you the prescription, do you go, I'm going to need a discount. I'm going to have to shop around. No, you go, I'll go to Walgreens right now and pick it up. It's going to make me all better. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to make me live longer. It's going to make me happier. It's going to bring my mindset correct, whatever that it looks like for you. So I talk a lot about these things. And then I say, guys, when you get back home, and this is not dressed up like a doctor, I say, do you realize we interview about 100 people for the seat you're sitting in? The first month, you made it through boot camp. Hell Week. Now you're here in Phoenix for a month. You're learning how to be in the Navy. When you leave here, you're going to be a Navy SEAL. And when we get done with you, you're going to be on SEAL Team 6. You're going to be the elite of the elite of the elite. And let me tell you something, guys. There's consequences. Because when you get home and you start making money and smiling a lot more, there's going to be people in your life, and they don't know this. But misery loves misery. And you're going to surpass people, and they're not going to like it. And they're going to say, where's my buddy that I used to smoke weed with every day? Where's my guy that I used to go get wasted at 2 a.m. till 2 a.m. or to go to the strip club or whatever that was? Where's my buddy that used to watch football all day Saturday, all day Sunday? We switched to basketball on Monday. Where is that guy? And you don't know it, and they don't know it. They're not trying to tear you down. They miss their old friend, but you grew. And unfortunately, we got to add up who's around us. We become that person. You want to become a really great dad, a really great husband? Hang out with great dads and great husbands. Success leaves clues. And I think a lot of people miss these things. And I just say, look, I don't want you to stop talking to your wife or your dad, but there is toxicity in a lot of relationships. And if you don't recognize that and you don't recognize your shortcomings, why put the fudge and the Reese's Pieces and the ice cream right next to your bed every night? You don't have to do that to use your situation of Tuesday.
It's great how you came back and opened that loop, tied it in, closed it.
Well, that's the deal. I really believe these things. And I just
bro.
You've got an opportunity to grow to be whatever you want. I'm here to help you get to where you want to be. I want to know your dreams, your goals, what you want out of life. And if we could work on these together, what do I get out of it? Number one, I love homeowners. We had 2 new homeowners last week. We got a new kid that came into the A1 family 2 weeks ago. It's amazing. Right now, yesterday, my guy rushed to the hospital. His wife's pregnant. I don't know if she had the baby yet. But I love this stuff. So that's amazing. But what's also amazing about it is when they're winning, I'm winning. I tell them, if your dreams are coming true, I know mine are. My dream has to be big enough for all your guys' dream to fit inside. So when I watch every one of your dreams start to come true, the byproduct is I know I'm successful when you guys are hitting your goals, because the way I designed the pay structures is it's inevitably that outcome.
Wow. So I remember we were on a Zoom call like a year ago and you were talking about the possibilities of, in your head, it was a preconceived foregone conclusion that you could hit $1 billion. And you said, it's math. I need this many sales guys that do this. I need a training center where they're constantly coming in and training and learning. I need these systems. Do you see things as math and you see them as grids and structures and frameworks in your mind? And then you just have to go in and build the systems and make it happen? How do you divorce yourself from the chaos of the moment to how do you allow yourself to be a visionary? Is it something that's so strong that takes over you, or is it something you set time aside for? Where do you write these visions down? Are they all in your head? There's a lot of questions.
No, there's a lot of stuff written down, man. I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff. And I'm reading this book now, Come Up for Air. It's a buddy of mine that became a buddy, Nick Sonnenberg, is I think what he recognized with the book Come Up for Air is we get lost with email. Somebody's using Asana, somebody's using Trello. One person is communicating through Gmail. The other person's using Outlook. The other person's using Google Docs. One person's using Microsoft 360. Somebody's using Zoom. Somebody's using StreamYard. The other guy's using Microsoft Teams. And first of all, there needs to be clarity on what we're going to communicate with. And I'm not perfect at that. That's something that's a big call to action here, day one. But what I can tell you is everything is a formula in my mind. And I can tell you, I'm obsessed with math. I took advanced calculus. I was pre-dental. So I had to take all these math and science classes. Not a lot of math, but advanced calculus is what I went to. And then I took classes like microbiology, biochemistry, organic chemistry, blah, 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 blah. But math was always the foundation of everything. And then I learned the simple formula without a budget, without numbers. How much are you spending as a percentage of revenue on marketing? And if it ballooned 1 month, why? What's working, what's not? When you could reinvest the things that are working all the time, and the evidence is clear because you've got data integrity to make sure the numbers are right, then it's basically a compass. And you just got to follow true north to get where you want to go. And the CRM and the accounting tools allow you to do this. But a lot of people go, accounting or schmounting, I don't want a budget. It's too much work. And it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get it right. But when it is right, you'll find the holy grail. Because you'll know what you need to do each day. I mean, you can see why is it? I don't know what it was. 18 months ago, I was digging through the numbers and I happened to look at a KPI I hadn't looked at in a while, and it was abandonment rate. And there were days we were hitting 9% abandonment rate. Meanwhile, we're spending $500,000 a month in PPC.
Real quick, you said a key performance indicator with a 9% abandonment rate. Can you just say what that is?
Yeah, so that means someone calls and they hung up in time. It could have been a robot. It could have been anything. It could have been a customer calling for an invoice. It could have been a new opportunity. But abandonment rate just means in your call center that you're not getting to the call in time. And some people say, I'll call them back, but I'm not happy unless it's below 1.5%.
So you want to make sure every single call is getting answered every time and the customer is getting qualified. And if they're qualified, they're getting taken care of like at the right.
Because look, an abandonment rate's not good for anything. Because if you're not answering the calls coming in, and trust me, when I was a single tech out in the field working for myself, there were times I was on a ladder and I was like, I just have to call them back because I'm right in the middle with an impact putting on springs. And that was abandoned. That call was abandoned. They might have found someone else in the time frame. So there's these things in each department. So we have a scorecard for every department. Then we have different levels in each department. So there's a chain, there's a ladder to move up within the company. And we've got a clear path to get out of a truck if that's your goal. And some people, I don't know whether it's 40 or 50 or 60 or 35. I mean, I got a 29-year-old that said, I want to get out of the field in 2 years. Great. Whatever your goals are, we could have those there. We could get you there. And I think that's what really attracts a lot of people to us in the garage door industry is you don't need to stay as a technician. There's so many opportunities. You can make great money. We're looking for leaders every day. But if you want to be a leader here day one, Keith, you got to show up. You got to tell people that you want to be a leader and you got to lead by example. But if we know, we'll keep our eye on you. We'll keep an eye on your numbers. You prove to us, you start accomplishing your dreams and your goals. They don't need to be huge. But if you want it bad enough, it's possible. You got the will. We'll find the way together.
What is like the brain of A1 Garage Door? Is there a software where you keep all the systems?
Yeah, Monday is the brain.
Monday.com?
Monday.com.
We use Monday.com. Oh, dude, that shit changed my life. I was so stressed out. I had sticky notes all over the place and I had Google Docs and this and that in my internet business. And I hired a consultant to help me get Monday.com. And instantly this consultant was like building these boards and checklists and pulling it all out of my head and putting it in a way. And now it's been organized ever since. So on your level, you must have your Monday.com.
Monday's a monster, but there's other things. I mean, we got an LMS. We've got a CRM. We use HubSpot on top of Service Titan. We use Teams. And one of the things, my goals is we've gotten a little siloed. And what a silo means is the call center cares more about the call center than they do about the overall company. And it's in the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. So you got to be very careful because sometimes different departments start caring more about their department than they do about the greater good of the whole company. So getting everybody, and I've hired a consultant. It's lots and lots of money. But if I could give each and every manager 1 day back a week, it pays for itself on week 2. That's the way I look at these investments, and they're not costs, they're investments. So the president of my company is sitting in the other room. He's visiting. He lives in West Bloomfield, and he's here for the last 3 days. We talked for hours on end these last few nights. And I said, this is what I want to do. And he said, let me talk to it. Let's make sure we have an expected outcome. And so we're working through these things. And one of them is at a company our size with all these things going on, there's a lot of content. In fact, Giuseppe's sitting right here. He works on videos with me. And he's like, what happened to the hard drive? There was a lot of stuff going to a lot of places. So we want to centralize everything. And there's going to be more than one software because guess what? There's different things going on in the company. My CRM does not do accounting. HubSpot is a better thing for relationship management. So there's different things, but this is going to be a good big cookie to crack, but that's where I should be spending my time.
More of the Untrapped podcast right after this. After years of testing and tens of thousands of dollars spent on marketing and advertising, we are still amazed that the 7 most powerful marketing strategies we found are surprisingly low cost or even free. So we boiled down everything that we learned into a 7-step guide, and we're giving it away for free. If you want to download the free guide called 7 Steps to Marketing Your Business, it's easy. Just text the word Untrapped to 31996. Again, just text Untrapped to 31996. This is Untrapped with Keith Kalfas.
And I enjoy it, man. Like I said, I don't come into work going, geez, another Monday. I'm like, this is going to be fun. What record are we going to break this week? Let's continue to break through records. Everybody that says no, I love when somebody tells me I can't do it. I love when somebody says, good luck, pal. I'm like, hold my beer, watch. And I just love when people talk shit. So the people on social media, I'm like, thank you for giving me an extra reason to shove it in your face when I do it. Because all this naysayers out there, they're just another reason to keep going. And I can retire pretty easily and be happy and do everything I want. But you hear about these guys that they stop doing their business. They take a 6 months hiatus somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe it's Hawaii, wherever they want to go. And then they get bored. I don't like to be bored. I like to be challenged. And that's why I stay sharp, is because I'm always challenged. And could I be doing a better job? I think I could do so much freaking better. If I thought I was doing perfect, I would want to retire. But I'm a work in progress, and I always will be.
I love it. I love it. So I signed up for your book. I bought your book, but I was added to an email list, and I got these emails. It was something about, it was either a course or an actual real live tour inside of your whole facility to see the way that your business works on the inside. And so if people want access to that, do you have something like that? Like live on-site training for entrepreneurs or live events, or is this all digital that's pre-recorded on video?
So people do a shop tour. I had 3 companies in here yesterday, and we talked through a lot of problems with them. And I try to do at least 2 tours a month. So we've got the shop tour, and you see the training center, and you get to see the office, the way I got things set up. And I do have a course. It's not in person, but we have a live event for garage door companies. It's coming up in May for all home services. It's called Freedom. It's going to be massive, and there's going to be tremendous value given. I don't make money on events. I don't make money on books. You know, ultimately, where I win is I'm telling you the number one source of garage door companies I'm partnering with is from the people I talk to on the podcast. It's just, we're looking out for each other. So I don't want to monetize. Do you know, if I told you how much I made an hour, you'd shit your pants. You'd be like, that's not even effing possible. So if you want to give me $500,000 to come speak, that day I'd still lose money by being there. If I wasn't involved with networking and learning, I would lose money on that day. So I don't speak to make money. I don't actually ask for any money. I say, buy some copies of my book, email some people out for me. I'm trying to grow my brand. I'm trying to become an influence for people in the home service space and business in general. So, you know, I see a lot of fake gurus out there, Keith. I see a lot of people that don't make it in the real world, and they claim that they're making all this money. I promise you, I'm not only making good money, I'm effing killing it. This is my core business. And because I'm out there networking, because I'm out there learning, the business continues to see some of the new things and different outcomes, because ServiceTitan just came out with something new yesterday. Guess who was the first one that got the phone call? I did. Guess who they want to use it? They want me. And guess what? I get access to every alpha and beta test they have. And that's not the only thing. It's everything. And there's a person with a new book. I got to read the first few chapters of my buddy's new book that won't be out for another year. This is access points that I get. And look, I don't go into an event going, okay, those are the things that kind of let happen to me. And I say, something's going to manifest out of this. I don't know what, but I have faith that this is going to be worth the time. The human connectivity is one of the most important things out there. And I definitely think it's important that you don't know how much calling a guy that works for you or a girl that works for you saying, I hope you're having a great day, just wanted to say I appreciate you goes. You can't put a measurement on that. You can't put a measurement on meeting somebody. I'm meeting with a guy later today with 1,500 Airbnbs that one of my buddies wanted to introduce me to. And I'm like, I'd love to talk to him, but there's garage door opportunities there, but I got some other opportunities. And I go into this conversation going, what's in it for them? So I want to see their 6-month plan, their 1-year plan, their 3-year plan, their 5-year plan. And then I want to show them how I could help them hit their goals. Same thing with vendors, same thing with anybody. That's the whole meaning of the word elevate, is you get to win when they win. And there doesn't need to be losers. And it's not, Simon Sinek wrote a book called The Infinite Game. And if you look at things long-term, so many people, they overestimate what they can do in 1 year and they underestimate what they can do in 5. And I'm excited, man. I just turned 40. I thought 40 was old, man. When I was 20, I was like, dude, you old goat. I was like, bought my uncle a cane when he turned 40 as a joke. And now I want to find that cane. It's long gone by now. But I'm like, 40. I was talking to one of my buddies the other night. I'm like, 40 is the new 25. And I'm like, I feel 25. I don't like walk. Like, I don't know. 40 is an age that's just 30 and 40. 50 might be old. But I'm sure, hopefully I'll be on your podcast in a decade going, 50 is the new 30.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love it, man. So you have so much gratitude. That's it. That's it. So you know exactly what you want. You're crystal clear on it. You're hyper passionate. You're in love with what you do, and you walk and live in gratitude. You have infinite curiosity around business and success. You're always asking questions. You're humbled. You're not afraid to ask for help. You build a team around you of people that are smarter than you, even of the things that maybe you don't know how to do. You don't want to do it all. You focus on what you're best at, and you're a visionary. So you find integrators and people that can help you. And when you help enough people win, you win automatically. And you don't have to do any of this social media or podcast stuff. You could just focus on your business. I was listening to another podcast, really awesome. I follow this guy, Sam Ovens. He's in the consulting space and he's a really smart guy. And he's now closed down to, there's no more masterminds. You can't work with him or anything. And it was like 25 grand to go to his thing, but you can't do it anymore. And he was talking about how he invested the 25 grand and he went part of his mastermind group. He said, because inherently he knew, and this is kind of like about you, Tommy, he's like, there's going to be a time he knew when Sam Ovens was not going to do that ever again. And he had to get in and do that now because Sam doesn't have to do it. And when I hear you talk, it's like, probably not, but like, what if some season changed where you weren't able to do as much podcast or public talks or something? You've been doing it nonstop since 2017, but it's interesting. I think about this, like the opportunity to do a shop tour at A1 Garage Doors and learn about what you do. How long will that be around where you'll have the capacity to do all this? Is this part of your infinite game?
Yeah, I follow a lot of people as well, and I learn from a lot. And one of my mentors was talking about, and actually, he said, for shits and giggles, I got sick of all these random phone calls. And because when I gave free time, they didn't respect it. And he goes, that was the hardest part. So he goes, first I tried 10 grand for half a day. And he goes, I still got 100 leads that sold 100 hours or 100 days out. So this guy happens to be named Roland Frazier. And he goes, so then I went to 25K and I'm still just as busy. And he goes, it's amazing. And, I'll never charge for a podcast, but also there is an opportunity cost for time. I've realized now, why would I ever do one shop tour when I could do 10 at the same time? It's just efficiency. Why would I ever speak to 10 people when I could speak to 1,000? Now, listen, I do a lot of things and I try to help a lot of people, but there's only so many hours in a day. And if you're not increasing your efficiency, you're never going to grow, because there's one thing I can tell you. You don't get more than 24 hours. If I could buy hours, I would be spending a fortune. I would buy an extra 10 today. Depending on the price, I might buy 20. So I can't buy time. So if you're not going to grow in efficiencies, there are some doors that need to close for new doors to open. And I agree. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I can't go at the rate I am. I'm trying to help a lot of people. But when I help that one person, what if I let down 20? So I need to have some constraints. And that's one thing that I'm trying to manage is if I had to let go of somebody because of COVID, but the whole company stayed in business because of some of these tough decisions, would the 500 people at the time be better off that the 10 people have to go? Absolutely. That's not an easy decision. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It just, we are faced with tough decisions every day. This is the biggest problem I see with a lot of entrepreneurs. They're afraid to let people go, but then the whole company goes bankrupt. Then everybody's gone out of a job. So I don't know necessarily if that's the case. That I'll never stop podcasting, I don't think. I love Joe Rogan. He talks about some deep shit. And I like business more. But ultimately, I think home service is just one of those things that I'm still having fun with for the next 5-10 years. I'm fascinated with the way the world runs, the solar system, Egypt, just history, and not necessarily aliens, but just looking at like just fun stuff that I want to learn more about. I love Elon Musk. He's very, very thoughtful in the way he speaks. He's a lot slower than I speak, but he's thoughtful. And he's launching rockets. He figured out how to get a rocket to land back. You could just refill. It's like a bullet. You just refill it. It goes back up. He's launching 10 rockets a week. He'll have more than every other country, including NASA, more satellites in the sky of everybody combined times 10. I mean, that dude, he's a good person to follow. And I always say I have one person I follow, and that's Elon Musk. One person that I look at. Why not look at the best? If you're going to look at hockey, why not just subscribe to Wayne Gretzky? If you're going to look at basketball, Michael Jordan. It doesn't make sense to me. And I look up to a lot of people, but if there's one guy that I'm like, whoa, that dude is a legend, it's Elon Musk.
Yep, he is. When I think about Elon Musk, I think his been able to raise the necessity on his understanding of his own mortality and death average human, say, lives 90 years or whatever, and how long does he got to go? And how long does it actually take to fulfill his mission of, like, say, getting to Mars or whatnot? So every single second must feel like a ticking time bomb over him. Can I even get this done in my lifetime? That's why I like the dude apparently, lives where he sleeps, where he lives, doesn't do anything but work, because I think that he can feel that urgency is so intense. Do you feel?
Not necessarily. Look, I get that, but also when he bought Twitter, he believed Twitter was important to have free choice and let the good and the bad come on. I mean, I could see restricting like bad stuff, like there's children's stuff and bad, evil things that you'd have to not let go online. But he also says, listen to the left, listen to the right, listen to the different religions. He says, listen, we're not going to hold people back from learning about everything. We can't show them one side of anything. So he felt like that was essential. But I know he can't focus on Mars and also focus on Twitter and also focus on he's helping third world countries with internet. So I think he decides Elon Musk has become really, really smart at getting a lot done. And there's no way he hasn't done this through efficiencies. I'm sure he probably takes a shower and has a board call at the same time. I mean, he's figured out ways to be 10x efficient. He doubles up all the time. And that's what's nice is money is kind of nice because you can afford to buy the best. And these people, you pay $80,000 for a CFO. I pay $300,000. I'm just pulling numbers out of my butt here. This is inaccurate. But what if that guy got you 10x results? I mean, sometimes you get what you pay for. I mean, ultimately, then there's other people that have paid a lot of money that weren't worth their weight. But that's why the recruiting process is so important. But the best want more. They've got experience. They know how to get to where you want to go because they've done it before. Success, it's muscle memory. They'll get it right back. And why not take one of those guys? And you got to be somewhere where it's moving and shaking. It's fun. There's a culture. There's fun stuff going on. And it's going to be a fun ride. And that's why they want to do it. It's ELF. It's easy, lucrative, and fun for them. They want to come work with you and build something amazing.
What is that? Is that Dan Sullivan, ELF?
Dan Sullivan, coach? Joe Polish, and Dan Sullivan, yeah.
Man, Joe Polish, man, he's on fire, bro. He cares so much about people and humanity and helping people. He's amazing. So this one thing I wanted to ask you, if you were on some type of plateau yourself in your learning or understanding or growth and development, integration of what you want to do next, yet it's just like a blind spot for you, and you're going to have to really invest the time, whether it be with a coach or a mentor or consultant or doing some deep reading or sitting and meditating, whatever it takes for Tommy I'm into neuroscience. So neurons that fire together, wire together. And if you really want to grow something, you got to work at it until it sticks, into a trickle, flow, flood. What if it takes some real time that you don't have to invest right now to build a new or grow a deep skill set that Tommy needs to get everything to the next level, but you're so busy managing everything and else? How do you actually, like, sometimes you got to take 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, to take 1 step.
10 steps forward.
Yeah. How do you...
I've always had peaks. I always grow fast. I peak out. I need to catch up. Then I grow forward very, very fast. I always say when something becomes vanilla, I know it's time to grow because all the systems are working so good. I like getting to the point where I'm definitely not needed. And then when we grow so much that there's more issues, then I come back, I'm needed, kind of plateau. Then we grow again. And I've had that happen several times in the last 5 years. And I'm the visionary. It's very hard to work without a visionary, to not know where you're going, to understand the next step. Keith, I got to run here. I just realized I got to talk to Al Levy in 5 minutes.
Crush it, bro. I love it.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate it. They gave me a link, and I wanted to make sure I said this. It's elevateandwin.com/Keith. I'll know you heard it from Keith's podcast.
Elevateandwin.com/Keith.
Yeah.
And I'll put it in the show notes, too.
What's that?
I'll put it in the show notes, too.
So leadership, culture, marketing, systems, and recruiting. I went to Nashville, and we brainstormed for 2 full days. The E-myth is work on the business, not in the business. So I said, elevate mindset. And there's 5 pillars. And we started writing them down. What do people need to take? And I've had a lot of great people saying a lot of great things, and I appreciate it. I just hope you use it. I hope somebody reads this and they say, man, this is a wake-up call. This is definitely something I didn't think about. This elevate mindset, this realizing that if I share, if I help, I don't need to lose. I just hope that it means something to the whole home service industry and hopefully beyond that. And that's all I wanted. I promise you I don't make money on this stuff. But I got a staff that we support with some of the money. I mean, look, there's great people. My videographer, he likes to make money. I think everybody does. So there's people around me that I could get from this stuff, but I'm not making any money off of this.
All right. So since you're not, where can they find the book again so they can learn from you?
So it's elevateandwin.com/Keith.
Perfect.
And then if you want to see some crazy fun stuff, go to official Tommy Mello on Instagram or TikTok. I put out a lot of content. I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn and YouTube too. So I appreciate you having me on, brother. And listen, I'll get you on my podcast. You're a legend. You're doing amazing things. Your commitment to helping is really tried and true, and everybody sees that. So keep up the great work.
Thanks, Tommy. Later, bro.
Later, buddy. Take it easy.
Bye.
I'm going to wrap up. Go to Keith Kalfa's Untrapped on Apple Podcasts, and please leave the show a well-worded positive 5-star review. It helps boost the rankings of the show. I really, really appreciate it. Hit me up on YouTube, Instagram at Keith Kalfas, and I can't wait to hear about your success, and I'll see you soon.